good evening. Welcome to Detroit in Black and White, our Friday night's edition. Um, we have Jim Nardone, our Trenton guy, former police chief of the Trenton Police Department. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Happy Friday. I'm doing well, thank you.
And I think he's vacationing just like I am.
I am.
We have we've given him a new name, Eastside Al.
What's up?
No, you're supposed to say, "What up, Doe?"
What up, Doe?
What
Is
up,
that,
Doe?
you know what? Let me ask you this. I'll ask you
Huh?
a question. When Jimmy Fallon had the show here, and he said, here in Detroit, they say, what up, Doe? And I mean, I've heard the expression before, but I haven't heard it. Maybe I'm not hanging out with the right people, but I don't.
You
I
know
don't
you're
hear,
not.
I don't hear it. I don't hear it a lot. Maybe it's a younger generation, but I don't hear that a lot of people saying, hey, I've heard the expression many times, but is that something you hear all the time from friends?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Hi,
You're not
Jan.
hanging out with the right people.
I guess.
My
But
friend Jan out there.
listen, it's Allan Lengel for you
There.
guys who don't know who he is. Eastside Al. What up, though? And I'm gonna say what up, though, to everybody that is joining us on all the social media platforms. Y'all know what we want you to do. Yes, I said y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey, hey. You know what we want you to do. What do we want you to do? We want you to like, subscribe, and share, and tell all your friends about what? The greatest show on these YouTube streets. So, like, subscribe, and share. Tell your friends about Detroit in Black and White. I don't know if Adolph is going to join us tonight. He probably won't. He'll probably be back tomorrow. But we here, and I'm going to ask that you, Alan, and Jim do me a favor. I'm using my phone, so I can't even read the comments. So I'm going to ask that you guys read the comments and acknowledge our co-host tonight.
And I'm going to try because I've got an
I can do
iPad
it
today,
if you
so
want.
I'm going to.
But
Can you see him, Alan? Hello, Kenneth.
Yeah.
Kenneth Reed, our old friend Kenneth. The SS Kinlock is taking on plenty of water now. It might capsize soon. Well, we're hearing some other things. We're going to get into that. Thank you for that comment. Hello, Karen Winston. I'm going to try here. Ira Todd, our good friend Ira Todd. Happy Friday to you, Ira. We're
The
glad to see you
legend.
tonight. Our Detroit PD legend, Ira Todd. FBO Convo from Hazel Park. Hello, Hazel Park. Dorian Denard, one of our contributors and one of our most what do you want to call it? Educated or with he's got his ear to the pulse of what's going. His ear to the ground, I guess, is a better way to put it. And thank you, Duela. Hi, Duela. Good evening, Friday.
Oh, he said it right, Duela.
I'm getting there. It might take me another month. Sorry, Duela. She's going to slap me when she sees me. I probably deserve it. Jill Sheridan, our friend from the Southland. Hi,
Jilly
Jill.
from
How are
Philly.
you?
Okay, what's up, Jill?
I'm working on it, Ira. I'm trying to look younger. I don't see anything that really works except maybe plastic surgery or something. And, you know.
We'll get you a T-shirt that says "What up, Doe?"
What up, though?
Well,
Right.
I'm sure. Eric, can we talk about Eric's conversation with us a little sometime later or earlier?
Oh, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Good.
I'm good. Go ahead. Who wants
Yeah, I just want to do a quick outrage before we get going. Tonight, the news came out that President Trump has pardoned George Santos, who was sentenced to 7 years for fraud, identity theft. I mean, the guy was the biggest scammer. I mean, first of all, it was shameful that the Republicans allowed him to stay in Congress, but they didn't want to lose his vote. I mean, the guy stole identities. He stole money he misappropriated funds in his campaign funds. He stole money from a fundraiser for a dying dog. He lied to the voters who he was. He said his mother was in 9/11 in the Trade Center. I think his grandparents were Holocaust survivors. He stole money. He was fraudulent. He got 7 years for doing a lot of things, including tricking the voters. And he has served 3 months, and Trump has pardoned him. And I just want to read the quote here. Well, first of all, Trump compared him to Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, who kind of fudged his, and you could say lied about his Vietnam experience. He said that I served in the military during Vietnam. He did not go to Vietnam, but it was a twist of words to mislead. Okay, that was years ago, and he paid for it. He got a lot of shit for it. So Trump says it's no worse than what Blumenthal did, and this guy was on the warpath for fraud. And then he says this is far worse, and he's talking about Blumenthal. This is far worse than what George Santos did, and at least Santos had the courage, conviction, and intelligence to always vote Republican.
That's what he
said.
said.
This, Allan.
Need I say more?
I wish
I'm going to ask you, Allan, and Jim. How much did he pay to get that get out of jail?
I wish Ira was on, because it's pretty easy to pick bad people from good people, and George Santos is a bad actor, right?
Absolutely.
Evil. I mean,
how much did he pay to get out, though? Because I don't believe the current administrator just said, I'm going to let you out. What did he have to give him in return?
He probably had to steal money and give it to who knows what what political favors, who worked their magic to make that happen. I mean, it's not a snap of the finger thing. It's a lobbying campaign. When Kwame got released, when he commuted Kwame's sentence, that was a whole effort going on in a lot of different directions from a lot of different influential people. It doesn't happen like that. So he must have had some people backing him. I don't know what the benefit is. We're not going to get him back in Congress. The guy's done politically. The guy's such a fraudster. He'll scam people again because he's incapable of telling the truth. And maybe Trump identifies with him. So it's just shameful. The lesson is make sure you're good friends with Trump if you're a crook, because you just might not really serve any time.
Here's the big picture.
Let me ask you this, Allan. Let me ask you, both of you, this. Isn't this the same guy that people are saying that he should get the Nobel Peace Prize?
Trump?
Yeah. The current administrator. I don't know if you guys noticed my theme here.
I'll give kudos to Trump. The circumstances were right for him to put the pressure on Netanyahu. But you know what? The Nobel Peace Prize is not given to people who are decimating or degrading democracy. It's all about democracy and freedom and people who stand up for something and have something, either scientifically they've made amazing breakthroughs, or they've been in civil rights or something where they put their lives on the line. And Trump you see what's happening in this country. They were talking about in Chicago. We saw a video of a pastor being shot by a bullet. They were shooting off tear gas near an elementary school. It's crazy.
So what does that say? I guess my question to all our viewers, all our contributors, and the two of you is, what does that say about our country? I don't care if he's a Republican. I don't care if he's a Democrat. He's a bad actor, right? And it's just like the January 6th people. They're bad actors. I understand if you want to pardon a guy that walked into the Capitol, he may not deserve it either. He turned around, walked out, and said, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm going home. If you want to pardon that guy, but somebody that sat at an official's desk and did stupid things or committed a violent act, absolutely not. What does that say about our country? That reflects poorly on all of us. Karen Winston says scum, talking about George Santos, I believe. Excuse my finger. I'm somewhere away from home, and I have this little iPad. I'm trying to make it work. I realize my finger's in the picture. In fact, at
least you're using your iPad. I'm using my phone. I've
already got a text that said move your finger, and I just can't do it. But I want to get these. What took Trump so long, Kenneth? I guess he got distracted with bombing fishing boats in the Caribbean. Thanks, Kenneth. That's to me, that's an act of war, and I don't get that at all. Good evening, Edward Alt. Good evening to you. Thank you for tuning in. As Eric says, he can do it. He can commute anybody he wants. I get that, Eric. You're absolutely right. But how does that reflect upon our society is a bigger question. I want the two of you and our viewers to answer that. How does it reflect
Go ahead,
all
Vanessa.
of us when somebody does that.
Well, I don't know if this is true or not, but I saw late yesterday that there were a lot of people from the press that was walking out. What's going on with people that's in the media
Oh,
that's walking out because
yeah,
the current administrator, I don't know if you guys are noticing this thing, the
yes.
current administrator want to tell them what they can and cannot write, what they can and cannot say. Now I saw it, Katie Couric put this out, and I still see these people filing out of
The Pentagon.
the why yeah, the Pentagon.
It's the
Well,
Pentagon.
I'm going to
Well,
go back to you, Jim. What does that say about our country
I,
and where we're going?
let me just
This is
explain.
crazy. Go
Let me
ahead,
explain
Alan.
what happened, and then we can go to Jim on that. Look, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense or War, whatever he is, decided that every media outlet, including Fox News, had to sign an agreement saying that they will not disclose or write about anything that is not officially authorized
Right.
for release, which is insane. I mean, I worked in Washington. I had, federal sources, and we had federal sources because one of my beats was the anthrax case, and we weren't getting any information. If I didn't have sources telling me what was going on with the investigation and stuff, the public wouldn't have known stuff. But so what happened is, including Fox News, they all refused to sign that agreement.
Right.
And so they've all had to leave the Pentagon. So they left in droves. The New York Times, Washington Post,
Right.
NBC News, and Fox News, believe it or not,
Right.
are
Right.
all. So
Right.
And
So
who
I look at it as, here again, you're trampling all over the United States Constitution. That's First Amendment all day long. And I don't know how much more, he's pushing things to the limit. So I don't know how much more as Americans we're going to stand for this. But, I found that quite interesting. And I also find it interesting that you weren't outraged by that, Alan.
I mean, it's just, look, we have the government. We don't always agree with the government and stuff like that, but the government essentially, in the most idealistic way, is here to protect us. When we have the troops going into our cities and they're not only grabbing people who are undocumented or whatever, but they're grabbing people who are citizens because
Right.
they're Hispanic. And while they're saying I'm a citizen, they are ignoring it. And they're rounding up people, they're grabbing kids and stuff like that. The media, trying to crack down like that. I've never heard of it. I have heard, and it's not atypical when there's a lot of leaks coming from the FBI or wherever, they have internal investigations. And that's, to be expected. But part of the game is that the media, we have the First Amendment, which is important. And
Absolutely.
you can't, put the clamp on them and say you can't print. And they're talking about not just about classified information, but any information that the Pentagon doesn't want out. So,
Yeah.
Good evening, Janet. Overall, Dorian, if you want Trump to self-destruct, do this. Stop talking about him. I think that's a great point, Dorian.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm total media blackout. I know it's important, impossible to do, but it's the only answer. He's demented, narcissistic, and now I lost my comments because I don't know what I'm doing here. To answer your question, Jim, this is exactly what our country is. No smoke or mirrors, just the truth. I need a little bit more information there, Edward. Smoking, you're talking about I guess, is, according to Eric, is a commutation of George Santos.
George Santos. They're commutations.
What's the truth that he just decided to let him go and he's a bad guy? That's what he should have said. He's a bad guy. I don't understand exactly what you're saying, but thank you for your thoughts. Hegseth and Trump mirrors Nazi Germany. Jan, my old friend Jan. Where are the heroes? Will stand for the Constitution. We've had this conversation. I have a little off topic, but it's the Republicans. They're the only ones that can save this administration. What I mean by that is the Republicans need to be honest with the president. And I don't see very many of those folks out there that are sitting down and saying, Mr. President, it's probably not a good idea to be killing Colombian citizens. How would you feel if they killed some students off the coast of Baja California? Excuse me, as an example. It's probably not a good idea to practice on the U.S. citizens in our cities, the military. Maybe, Mr. President, that's a kind of a bad idea to practice on our cities, the U.S. military. So who's telling them this? Why isn't there somebody out there standing up and saying, that's a bad thought, Mr. President. You can't practice on the citizens for the military.
You know what? We're going to put a pin in it right now because we need to go to break, and then we'll come back and we'll resume with this conversation. Detroit in black and white. We're going to break, and then we'll be back.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
We're back, Detroit in black and white, our Friday evenings edition. We're back with Allan Lengel, Eastside Al, and Big Jim from Trent. And myself, I didn't even introduce myself this evening, but I think y'all know what this is, and y'all know who this is. Vanessa Moss. Everybody know Vanessa Moss. That's right. So go ahead and resume. I don't know if it was you that's getting ready to make a comment, Allan.
Yeah, I want to say something. I mean, they're sending B-52 bombers, like I think was it like 35 of them, over to Venezuela. He's a bully. You want to send bombers? Send them to Russia. Send him. He's going after all these countries that can't fight back, and he just wants to bully them. And it's insane what he's doing. It's like, I don't know. The naval, look, the Coast Guard could get out there, or whatever. The Navy could get out there and intercept those ships and do it in a different way. But it's crazy. I mean, he's breaking. He decides I can kill people, and get away with it.
Well. Okay, Jim, it was something that you said you wanted to talk about. Let's go to another subject. I don't have an outrage today. I will have one tomorrow, I'm sure, but I don't have an outrage right now. But Jim, what is it that you want to talk about?
After a couple of comments, you don't like my music. I was just accosted by a homeless person, a weird homeless guy. He's pretty sure was a cop. That's interesting. And he's across the board. He's over there in our neighbor to the north, neighbor to the south of Detroit, Windsor, south of Detroit. But I'm just worried about if you're getting your mail, you don't like my music. What the heck's going on with your mail service over there? Kenneth Reed at David Porter. I'm not saying that the race is over. I think it was I'm trying here, guys. G Money Hollywood made a comment about the mayoral race is over. Pastor needs to go on every tactical campaign using all aspects of social media that he can finish as a runner-up, respectively. Well, he's coming in second, if that's your belief, and I tend to agree with you. I think you're right on, G Money Hollywood, as you often are. But that's where I wanted to go.
I think
so. It seems like a couple.
Go ahead.
At least, did you have something, Allan? A couple of people in the Sheffield campaign seem to be getting a little nervous over there. So I don't know what the heck's going on over there. Why is their thin skin kind of showing through? What the heck's going on over there?
Well, I think that the race is I mean, look, she's ahead. Mary's ahead in the race. I think of Kinloch. He did a good job during. I think he not only held his own during the debate, but I think he performed better than people expected, and he got his shots in. She got her shots in. depending on what. But I saw on TV, they interviewed somebody, and a woman who said, I still haven't decided after this debate. So there's still some undecided, but it doesn't, I mean, the thing is they could split the undecided and she's still going to turn out way ahead.
Well, I think what Jim is asking, he says, well, if she's way ahead, I'm with Jim. You got thin skin over there. You worried about what? We know what I think I know what they could be worried about. I mean, listen, you're a reporter, Allan. You know the streets are talking, and they're hoping that the talk that's going on in the streets don't get to those people that vote. The people that vote and the people who decide who's going to be the mayor. I agree with Adolph. It's going to be the seasoned citizens, okay? And what they look at is what they see in the newspaper and what they get in the mail. They're not necessarily getting the information that we hear out in the streets. And I think that may be nervous that some of these things are coming out. As I said the other day, if you're going to scrutinize him, you need to scrutinize her. You know, she's had
But
it her way,
so
which to me is unfair for me as a voter because I want to make an informed decision about who I am going to select to run the city of Detroit. I want to know the good and the bad. And if you have thin skin, if you got a problem, because listen, Vanessa says she's going to support such and not support such and such, then maybe you shouldn't be in the race. And maybe you shouldn't be related to that person. And maybe you shouldn't be advising that person because everybody is not going to like the person that you like. Everybody is not going to support that person. But after all the smoke is cleared, you should be hopeful that people can come together and work together for the good. Now, if uh it comes out the way that the media says that it's going to come out and people believe it to be, he's still a force to be reckoned with because he is able to use his voice and say, hey, you said you were going to do this, you didn't do it in 12 years. Now 12 years, 4 years later, you still have not done this. Or in the next year you said you were going to do this and you haven't done that. So they need to be very, very careful. They haven't been, to me, they've been careless, but you need to be very, very careful when you start sending text messages to people. I hear you saying this, that, and the third. Man, if she got it in the bag, why are you sending text message to people? Yes, I know they watch the show and they know who we're talking about.
and
Why are you doing that?
Our friend David Porter is asking why they should be nervous, and I'd be asking the same question, Mr. Porter. We're getting information that some people in that campaign are kind of lashing out at people that aren't on board with them. And I guess I can leave it at that for right now. If there's somebody else that's participating in the show, then I can give you more information. But I think that it probably should be them. They're part of this program, and it may be on their show Monday night. It may not be, but
well, I think
ahead,
that there's a path. They're trying to create a path of no resistance, and when they see any resistance, they're lashing out.
What does that sound like, though?
Yeah, but I'm saying that I think an issue that keeps recurring, and Mary has to be asked this. I don't know if she's been asked this straight up, is that people are concerned that her father, Reverend Horace Sheffield III, is going to have undue influence on her mayoral.
He's a father. How couldn't he?
Yeah. Well, look, that doesn't matter. I mean,
what would we expect? I mean, does that make it a bad thing?
No. Well, look.
I mean, is that
it doesn't automatically mean because you're a father that you have to be meddling and stuff. I think people.
But it does automatically mean if you're Horace Sheffield, you will.
Right. Well, he's a very influential person in this community who has his tentacles out there, and so that's the question. I mean, if he was some, lower profile guy, people might not be thinking that, but he's a high profile guy. He's got a lot of connections. People are going to come to him and say, hey, I got a problem here. Hey, I want to get a contract. Hey, I want to do this. And we have to make sure everything's above board. That's a question that needs to be asked to Mary directly is what influence is your father? Because he is out there during the campaign trying to put out people who are speaking up.
And I didn't attack
Oh
Mary
well, Allan,
Sheffield.
since you said that, you should expect a phone call.
I didn't attack Mary Sheffield when she took those tickets. As I said Wednesday night, I didn't think it was a big deal, but I thought her reaction was a big deal, right? I thought that the way she dismissed the people that asked the question was a big deal. I didn't attack her for that. She came on her show, and I thought she had a pretty good presentation. You don't have to like it, you don't have to believe it, but she had the courage to come on the show. And by the way, Detroit in Black and White is still an Adolph Mongo production, and if anybody's out there that doesn't know that, we're hoping to have him back full time. He was with us Wednesday, and he as he said, he's in the middle of his recovery, and we hope he's back for every show coming up. So
so Jim, you're saying you're hopeful that the contributor to the show will talk about it. Maybe, I don't know if he wanted us to talk about it or not. Maybe he will, but you do know that he's not the only one who got
right.
threats. I mean, there was somebody
Well,
else on
let's
this
be
show.
careful as an attorney.
Okay,
Let's not call them
so
threats. That
well, I will say, listen, I want to repeat what the person said to me.
Okay.
That person said threats.
Okay,
Now,
they can
if
feel
they weren't
threatened or
threats, then I'm
intimidated,
just
but
repeating what that person said to me.
understand. I just think that's a pretty high bar. A threat could be a criminal act, and I don't think
Oh, no, not threat like I'm gonna kill you or nothing like that. But
okay.
I'm
I'm
gonna,
gonna ruin you. I'm gonna ruin you.
Right. And so that's what I mean.
Okay, yeah, we need to
yeah.
be careful when we can talk about there are worse things than threats. Thank you. You don't like my music, and thank you for your truth. I appreciate your truth, and I appreciate that position. He is trying to influence and perhaps intimidate people in the process, which I don't care for if it's accurate. If it's accurate,
Right.
and I see some evidence that it may be accurate.
Right.
Right, but it's not to me. And that person has to come forward and talk about it. It's not a very good start. And as I said before, I didn't really have a problem with the concert tickets. It's none of your fucking business is my answer, which bothered me more than anything.
Yeah, well, another thing that has come up, and ML Elric had written about, is that he wanted to move the press room up to the 11th floor where the mayor's office is, where it was previously. They had shoved it down to the basement, which Duggan, apparently they had done during the Duggan administration, which is bullshit. And so Elric asked every candidate during the primary, if you'd be open to this, or at least asked 6 of them. And they all said yes, except for Mary said, well, we'll think about it. And part of what he said is, we want to see if her father is coming and going from the mayor's office weekly or daily or whatever it might be. We want to see who's coming and going. And that's what the media is supposed to do, is watch over government and make sure that it's, that they don't get away with stuff. And not to say that they are going to get away with stuff, but we're here to be the watchdogs of government. That's sort of the whole design of it. So,
well, the honest watchdogs of government. I think there's a distinction there, Allan. The free press and the news got right in line behind Mary Sheffield, and that's fine. Everybody likes to be on a winning team, but I read the free press endorsement. I didn't read the news endorsement. I was a little, I guess, taken aback by their endorsement, by their ringing, support. And if she's done some of the things that they suggest she did, by all means, publish it. But are they being honest? Are they being honest with the citizens of Detroit, like Deadline Detroit is, and hopefully this show and our colleagues that are contributing here tonight?
So, Allan, you said, and I said this the other night. The question is, are you Sheffield? Are you Madam Sheffield? Are you going to be running? Are you going to be running the city, or is your father going to run the city? And my question is, who has the influence over you? Are these people that have given you these big donations, these big donors? How much of an influence are they going to have on how you run the city? And I want to pivot a little bit, because I hear there's this big hullabaloo about this question as to whether or not if the current administrator would send troops to the city of Detroit, and you see people posting on social media that uh, Ken Locke said, you know, you know, maybe they can come in and, be in soft areas or whatever. And people's like, say no to Trump. Listen, you guys need to pick a side. Whoever the administrator is, whether you like them or not, that's in DC, if you want your city to be successful, you're going to have to work with that person. I think that you do your constituents a disservice. So I don't care if it's Sheffield or Kinlock, if the president or the administrator, as I call it, if he decides that that is what he wants to do, what are you supposed to do? What should you do? And when people make these comments and say, well, no, it should not happen, talk to the parents of the kid that was shot and killed while he was playing on the playground. Talk to the parents who have lost children. Talk to the people who've lost their brothers and sisters to violence. And then you give me the answer as to whether or not it's still no. I just think it is just very small-minded to think that once you hold that office that you can't work with the other side. We may not agree. The three of us don't agree. When it's four of us on the show, we don't all agree. But we all have to work together for the good. So that's my commentary on that.
I want to address, somebody says the media is being bought off. I don't know that the media is being bought off, but the media isn't doing enough to cover the race, to dig into, the news did a profile, and it's an even-handed profile.
So, but why though, Allan? Why do you think that is?
Why do I think what?
Why do you think that they're not doing, that
I
it's
think
not even Steven?
I think it's a combination of a lack of resources, but I think it's also a combination of just the editors are too laissez-faire. They don't have this. I mean, when I was at the news, not to be like back in the old days, but they were, full throttle looking at the candidates, doing everything, digging up stuff. We did a bunch of stuff on Gill Hill. We did 3 major blowouts on Gill Hill and some questionable activity that he was involved in. And he would scream at me on the phone and call me a motherfucker and all that stuff. But we were, trying to hold our politicians accountable. And there's just not, we had 3 or 4 people in City Hall from just the Detroit News. Now there's like 1 at the Free Press, and there's, I don't know, maybe 1 from the news, but it's not enough.
So, but make it make sense though. It's not enough resources, but you got enough resources to cover one candidate and to support one candidate, and to the resources that you have, you just the dirt that's on one candidate, you use that dirt about that one candidate, but the other candidate is pristine. That just does not make sense to me.
Well, I think some of the balance has been, some of the knocks on Mary were one. There were people questioning, and Kinlock raised that during the debate. He said, you're hanging out with some people being convicted. I think one person was actually convicted of bribery. The other person cooperated with authorities, so he didn't get charged. But she's hanging out with that, and he raised, and I think the issue with her father is a fair issue to bring up. Kinlock's had some,
But what about the media?
The media needs to do better. We get shortchanged every time. We were lucky to have a debate at least.
And Willis says the media are being bought out by big money organizations. Yeah. So
I think that too. I know Allan doesn't want to hear it. I don't think they're buying you out because it's Deadline Detroit and it's your baby. I do think that they've been compromised.
Are they just lazy, Allan? Is that really the answer?
I don't know that it's lazy. I think they're not as aggressive. I think some of it's, like I say, is resources, but I think some of it is just the editors are just too. You got to have an instinct to go after this, and really, it's a disservice to the readers, to the people of this community, when you're not showing who these people are. And it's so. Nobody really It's so laissez-faire, this whole race has been, and is it the media's fault? Is it the campaigning? We don't see a lot. There's not a great passion for this race. I think that's.
And what about G Money Hollywood's position, Vanessa? I think the present mayor's philosophies will be running the city along with women like Jenkins and Portia Roberson. who are trying to secure a spot in their cabin to keep a paycheck coming in. Well, G Money, that's good and bad. You can argue that that's a bad sign, but the talent of Jenkins and Roberson would probably help the organization. And I have a bigger question. Mr. 1213, don't let. I'm not going to mistake that one again. Made a comment. I'm looking for it. MZ Suzuki. Gil Hill can be used as a noun, verb, or adjective. I like that. Kenneth Inspector Todd, rest easy. Gil Hill, the real deal. The media is bored, David Porter. The race is quiet. It ain't no other side. There's not a political party. I think that may be accurate too. There was one I was looking for. I'm trying. I believe if Duggan had a lot of troops in to win a governor's race, he would. Dorian Denard. Eric and you don't like my music touched on the concert tickets. And as I said to both of you and everybody else out there, I wasn't really concerned about the concert tickets. I was more concerned with her response to "it's none of your business." But
she didn't answer it. She only answered the part about getting the tickets that corporate counsel has cleared her of that, but she didn't answer the question about or the accusation that she sold the tickets that she got for free. And
I want to go back, and I think,
and if that happened, that's a huge problem.
Yeah, that's shady. Huge. It's shady. There's no question about
it. I want to go back to the
Reverend. If you were given those tickets as a gift and you took them and sold them, not only is shady, I think that it may be illegal if you have a big corporation to give you these tickets for your benefit and you take them and you sell them, that's a problem. And if you guys remember, not too long ago in history, we had somebody that was in office and they started doing little things like that, and it blossomed into something else. So for me, that's a big deal, and that's something you shouldn't blow off. Just like you shouldn't blow off $40 million. Sorry, and your close association with that individual. Not only did you sit in the board, but listen, the streets are talking. You're the person that you are going to marry supposedly is that guy's best friend.
Okay.
And people are not. I mean, this is what people are saying. Okay, so you need to tell me the media doesn't question that. I'm not implying at all that she or anybody else on that board um directly had anything to do with the stealing of the $40 million. I have always said that I have a problem with a board. A board is supposed to have oversight. And when you have a chairman of the board and that goes on for that long, for me, it's for me and others, it is a problem. And to blow it off, just like you blow off the question about the tickets, I don't understand why it's not a big deal.
It's a lack of
Because I
transparency.
see a pattern here.
I think the thing is, if you're going to allow them to use your name as a prestige appointment, then you have to take responsibility when that blows up on you. You're putting your reputation there. You're lending your reputation to this organization to give it more credibility, and then you want nothing to do with it when everything blows up. And I think, to me, the fact that she should have just said, look, you know what, if I was on the board, I should have taken more responsibility for it. I that won't happen again. Yes, we all take responsibility for this. This is a crime. And then to let it during the primaries, when she let Matt Cullen off the hook, and who's the chairman of the board, who said it wasn't his fault. I mean, I don't think Matt Cullen was involved in any wrongdoing or thievery, but I'm sorry, you're the chairman of the board and you have more than $40 million coming through your organization and it's missing. It's not $1 million. It's not $250,000. It's not even $2 million, $3 million. It's a lot of money.
And so
I'm
what
sorry.
you're saying in essence
Matt Cullen
is
should have
that,
been fired from the board.
right, and what you're saying, what you said in essence is that they should not be held accountable. And don't ask me. I got it as, don't ask me about that. That has nothing to do with me. Let's move on to the next subject. That is not how a leader handles questions like that.
And a lot of people don't think it's a big idea, a big deal, Vanessa. But and you know, like my music's asking about it. It's not the concert tickets; it's the reaction to it. If she's going to be elected mayor of this city, who does she think she works for? Is she going to work for Mike Ilitch or Chris Ilitch or
Cullen
Peter
or Dan
Carmanos
Gilbert? Yep, all
or
of them.
I mean, is that
All
who she
them.
worked for? She
All
doesn't
them.
have to report to us underlings. That's the point. If she takes this job with a position that I don't have to answer to the people, it's none of their business. That's a pretty bad start to her term, if you ask me. That's where I am. It's nothing about it's not about the tickets. It's about who you work for. If you get elected mayor of Detroit, you work for the citizens. She needs to learn that. Apparently, her 12 years on the council, she didn't realize that. Or
so you 12 years on the council, you didn't realize that, and now that some people believe that she's going to be the mayor. Listen, I don't subscribe to what the media says or anything like that. I want to when the fat lady sings, then the show is over. I don't know, because we've had elections where they said that this one person is going to win. The media, everybody said this person's going to win, and this has happened more than once, and they did not. So I'm not subscribing to that. But and I feel the same way about the other person. If you're going to hold that position, then you have to be held accountable for everything that you do. Good, bad, or ugly, and be ready to explain.
Exactly, but as Ira Todd's pointing out, the president of the United States normalizing kickbacks, and when he commutes a sentence for a criminal, right. I mean, it's the same thing. I don't have to answer to you. As Eric said, he can commute or he can pardon, but what does that say about him? Why are you associating with bad guys all the time, Mr. President? Why isn't the Speaker of the House, who's Republican, saying, Mr. President, that's a bad look?
No,
letting George Santos go. Why don't they have the courage?
They're scared. They're scared. Look, Lisa Murkowski, the senator from Alaska, she's a senator, and she was saying, I don't know a few months ago, she's saying, it's scary. I'm scared. She's afraid of Trump. She sees what's happening to other people who cross him, and she's afraid, which is bullshit. Don't be a senator. Get somebody in there who's got a backbone to stand up to him. But we've unfortunately got so many stuff. But I was going to go to one of the liabilities that Kinloch has is that he has a lot less money. He doesn't have a lot of money in his coffers right now. And going down the stretch, money, Mary's going to pour it out. And unless he can do what he did in the debate and continue that and somehow get that word out in that way, then he has a shot. But
Allan, you say that, but then we had a presidential election where one person had all this money and they didn't prevail. So
he had plenty of money.
I think, but I think there's a combination of things. You have to be the right person with the right. I mean, it's just not the point that I'm making. It's not just one thing in the recipe. There's a whole lot of ingredients that goes into this.
I agree, but it's just go ahead. But it's with Trump. I mean, he had a shitload of money. The media was so attracted to him, whatever he said, because he was out making outrageous statements constantly, and so he got the attention. Now the problem is, how does Kinloch get more attention and raise? And Kinloch not only has to build himself up, but he has to tear Mary down. And can he do that in such a short time?
We're gonna go to a commercial, and then we're gonna come back. Detroit in black and white.
It's a big question up there.
Hello, Detroit. This is Deputy City Clerk Andre Gilbert, reminding you that early voting begins Saturday, October 25th, and runs through Sunday, November 2nd. You can cast your ballot at one of our 9 early vote centers from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. In this general election, we will elect the mayor, city council, city clerk, and other city officials who will shape our future. To find the location nearest to you or to learn more, visit us at detroitmi.gov/elections or call us at 313-876-0190. I'd like to personally invite you to our Party at the Polls block party on Saturday, October 25th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 2978 West Grand Boulevard, as we proudly kick off early voting. Let your voice be heard and vote early. Our future is in your hands.
We're back, Detroit in black and white, our Friday night's edition. If you're watching, you know what we want you to do. Like, subscribe, and share, and tell all your friends about the greatest show on these YouTube streets. You can catch us on all social media platforms. You can catch us every Wednesday and Friday evening from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. and every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You can also watch Detroit in black and white presents Reality Strikes with Eric Brown that comes on Monday evenings from 8:30 to 9:30.
Mr. 1213 had a point about a contract, about somebody trying to get a contract with going through Horace Sheffield. And I think all this is premature. I think we have evidence that Horace is, first of all, he's supporting his daughter. They're the closest living relative probably to each other. And why would we expect anything less there?
Right.
Is it fair to either one of them or to make these assumptions about the Reverend right now? I mean, obviously he's going to be involved in the campaign as he should be.
I agree, Jim, but I think the question is, I mean, people knowing his history, knowing his persona, that, yeah, I mean, everybody's going to support their own child to run. The question becomes, he's been a powerful figure in this community. And the question becomes, is he going to take a total backseat and be, a wallflower, or is he going to be like, this? We don't know. And those are questions that are okay to raise. It doesn't mean it's going to be true. Mary may tell him, look, Dad, stay out of City Hall, keep your distance. People are watching. I don't want to be accused of that. Or I don't know. I don't know the relationship good enough, but it's unfortunate. We have people who cover City Hall and stuff like that. They should know the relationships. They should be out in the city talking to people, figuring out what can we expect. So
listen.
So could that just be an effort to discredit her?
Right. Yeah. Right. So listen, he is a very popular person. He has a lot of contacts, and I would not at all be surprised if he goes and visits his daughter. I personally would think it would be crazy if he didn't go and visit his daughter if she becomes the mayor of the city of Detroit, and if he goes down to the office to talk to her or whatever the case may be. I think the real question is how much influence does he have? And as a parent, I think that as parents, you have influence over your children. You do. I don't care how grown they are. But how much of that influence is going to have an impact on the citizens of the city of Detroit? The other thing I say is whoever wins, I don't even know why you would celebrate because listen, it's a heck of a job. They have there are a lot of issues that have come out. And guess what? You're not going to be able to address all those issues, and you're not going to be able to wave a magic wand and everything is going to be fixed. So, I mean, you really, the money that was coming into the city is gone. Okay. We have an administrator in DC, don't have maybe they'll have a relationship with whoever becomes the mayor of the city of Detroit. But the kind of money that was coming in and for different programs, we don't have that. Now, I do think that it is advantageous that you have someone in office that have relationships with different people, that are powerful and have a lot of money that, you could get them to do some things. But I don't think that whoever's in that position should be in a position where they're compromising the citizens of the city of Detroit. We've been there, done that. We don't want that anymore.
Can I answer Mr. 1213 just really briefly? I understand, Mr. 1213. We're trying here. I'm on a little iPad, and I get your point.
What did he say?
He said that's not exactly what he said. You have my apology for that. I'm trying to read this. Go ahead, Allan.
look, the bottom line is no matter how much money comes from Washington, people are still going to do well business-wise, doing business with the city. And we saw that, administration after administration, whether it was Republican in Washington or not. I mean, generally, when the Democrats have been in Washington, the cities have done better financially in terms of aid and stuff like that. But there are still contracts, demolition contracts, garbage pickup, a lot of different programs and stuff, which are people get wealthy from. And so we just have to make sure everything's above board.
And you don't like my music wants to invite Donald Trump to Tim Hortons, and I'm sorry, he's right near Toronto, I think, pretty close. Maybe we can get St. Jamestown, Toronto. He said, Donald Trump, please come and have coffee with me. You'll even buy. That's really nice of you. You don't like my music.
We'll come up there if you're buying. So, anyways, that's So I it's not to cast disparaging things on on Mary or her father, or whatever, but we know the history there, and it's certainly a question that she should come out and answer, and we should be asking her that question, and it should have been asked during the debate. It should just be asked, and it shouldn't have to come from the crossfire, but rather from the interviewers to say, people are worried about this. It's not a secret. People were worried about whether Kinloch was going to work full time as a mayor. People were worried about, are you going to stay? I thought it was interesting. I did a story. Him and Todd Perkins were two of the candidates who moved into the city in the proper amount of time to be eligible. And it happens all the time. Dave Bing, Duggan did the same thing. But I asked both campaigns, are you plan on staying in the city even if you lose? Todd Perkins said, yes, I'm here to stay. I want to do stuff. And Kinloch's people said, well, we don't talk in hypotheticals. We expect to win. And so I thought, it's not a...
But when you asked that question, you spoke directly to Todd. You didn't speak directly to Kinloch. Is that correct?
I spoke to Dan Lagina, his spokesman, who gave me a statement, which I'm sure they hashed out before. With Todd gave me, I think we exchanged texts, and then he sent me something. So
And G Money says, Vanessa, you're right. We want to frame that one.
What?
We're talking about Detroit's bankruptcy, the major catastrophic issues come back and surface at the dinner table. She's going to have to feed it. You don't like my music has an invitation to the president, and I appreciate that. We appreciate your contribution. Willis Martin, Detroit has so much potential. Well, it has so much potential, but some people are being left out, and the potential shouldn't just be at Ford Field and Little Caesars Arena. It needs to be at 6th and Gratiot and Livernois.
Well, somebody, one of the commenters commented and said the debate today or the meeting or whatever should not have been held in Southfield, which I agree. You're having a mayoral. I mean, it's trying to show the influence outside of the city, which we want to, look, we need suburbanites as much. They bring in business. They do business here. They bring in revenue and stuff like that. But it's Detroit. And why you would have a debate in another city, and it wasn't even Channel 2, Fox 2 is in Southfield, but it wasn't. It was at where was it? Maybe it was in Detroit. It was at the Motor City. I take it back. Somebody's maybe I'm misspeaking here. Somebody said it was in Southfield, but I think it was actually in the Motor City Casino.
Mr. 1213. The reason that it sounds so close to home is because there was a place called the Huntington Place. Now it's Coble Hall, and the former mayor's dad was collecting bags of money, allegedly. I don't think he was convicted of that.
No, he was convicted of bribery.
So. Oh, he was. Yeah. In the bathroom at the...
Who are you talking about?
Bernard.
Who are you talking about?
Kwame.
His
Bernard
dad was convicted of bribery. I thought it was tax evasion.
He wasn't convicted of that.
No, his dad
There was allegations, right, that he was getting bags of money at Huntington Place.
And that was Kwame. There was money being delivered directly to like $10,000 in cash to Kwame.
I'm so confused. I thought his dad was collecting
to that, but Kwame's father was charged in the RICO conspiracy. But you know what? When you're a consultant, that's your job. So people would give him whatever, 10 grand. You say, I'll get you connections. I'll sit down with the mayor, which, they really couldn't convict him on that. The laws are too vague. So.
Right.
Well, isn't that what the president's doing? $1 million, they say. It's 10 grand when it cost $1 million to get to the White House. But there's a couple things, and I'm going to leave this. I'm going to finish real quick, and then you guys can finish after. But I would like to talk about the educational issue that we kind of danced around a little bit tomorrow morning. And Allan, I'd like you to talk about the airport and the story you wrote about the airports, because I spent some time with a CEO at the airport for the last 2 days. So I'd like to hear more about that, but maybe we save that for tomorrow. People will tune in to hear some of that.
All right. Well,
okay.
We've got 5 more minutes, or we want to.
Right. So what we're going to ask is tomorrow morning when people, we're going to do our outrages tomorrow morning, and we want, our commenters or co-hosts or whatever you want to call them, we want to hear their outrages. So we want them to put their outrages so that we can have a conversation about their outrages. So you guys be ready for your outrage tomorrow. I have sort of been out of pocket because I have decided that I have more years behind me than I do in front of me. So I'm enjoying life. So besides working, I'm working a lot, but I'm working hard and I'm playing harder. So I've been out of town quite a bit. I'm out of town now, and I'll be out of town next week as well. So
As I am traveling too, so I apologize for not
we're close
reading
to
some
each
of the
other,
comments.
actually. We're close to each other, Jim.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
By the way,
So
anybody who wants any No Kings rallies, there's listings on Deadline Detroit of a lot of places in Metro Detroit where they're holding them. So,
do you think those rallies really make a difference?
I think so. I think it makes people feel better. People who are really just so outraged every day watching the news and seeing the news, I think they can speak out. And I don't think Trump likes the. I think the message gets through. But is it? There's one thing that tips it over. It's a collective thing that has to happen. And this is just one of many things that need to happen to push back. So I think it matters. But.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it makes a difference or not. I have no intentions of participating in any of those rallies.
Well, let me ask the two of you this question. We have to have an open dialogue. We can attack the president for trying to run the country like he's the king. We can attack people for trying to, violate our First Amendment right. It's going on both sides. There's no open dialogue, and the government's been closed since October 1st now?
Yeah.
17 days, and there's no progress. Where are we at? I mean, isn't that a failure?
Isn't it a failure that there's no Congress in session? That it's like, Trump had railed about before when he wasn't president, how disgraceful it was for a president. It should be up to him, should be bringing the sides together. And he's just talking trash. He should every single day be calling people down and saying, let's work this out. The American people are suffering. The federal workers are suffering. Instead, he's sending B-52s. He would send B-52s over Democratic cities if he could get away with it. So,
and he's going to pay the government workers that he think are essential to him.
Right, who's essential. How do you think that feels? I can tell you, it's a misnomer when people talk about Washington, people being lazy and stuff like that. It was one of the hardest working cities that I've lived in. People are working lots of hours in government on Capitol Hill. It's a hard working city, and to shit on people who are providing services to Americans, whether it's for Social Security, Medicaid, whatever it might be, it's crazy. It's
so many support people, right?
It's insulting. The president should be, thank you, federal workers, for making this country work. Instead, he's like, I'm just paying who I think is good, the military and the FBI. I wonder if that means ATF and DEA aren't getting paid.
Well, that's a great question. Well, who's getting paid, and as you said, how do the people that the president's decided aren't important enough to get paid? How would you feel if you were them? It's a bad look, and it doesn't seem like they're in any hurry to fix it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it is 9:30. So guess what? We're going to say good night. We're going to say thank you. We're also going to ask you to join us again on tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Thank you. See you tomorrow morning.
Thank
Bye.
you for all the comments. I hope we got to you.